My name is Michaela Mota. I'm the Microsoft Learning Consultant in New York City. So basically what I do is I go into schools and I train educators, administrators, really anyone within that educational sphere how to use the Office 365 programs. I also put up here my Twitter handle and my email. On Twitter, if you guys are on Twitter, that's a great way to stay up to date with Microsoft Office 365 updates. If you guys have issues or problems or something isn't working, something on the Office 365 side, not something on the CUNY side, feel free to reach out to me via email too. I will do my best to help you, and if it's not something I can help with, I'm sure I know someone that would be able to help you. As I mentioned, during today's training, we are going to be accessing your Office 365 cloud services and storage. What we're going to talk about really is exploring OneDrive for Business, co-authoring files using Office Online. So with your Office 365 accounts, you also have access to Office Online, which they're kind of what I consider the big four, which is Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. So with Office 365, you have access to both the online and the desktop versions. So we're going to talk about how you can go co-author files both online and in the desktop, how everything's going to save and sync to the cloud. So the way I think of it, I think of OneDrive as me and SharePoint as us. Meaning OneDrive is your account, OneDrive is your storage space for your files, to put current files, to archive files. You have a terabyte of space in there, which is a lot of space. So if you wanted to put, all past files you've worked on as well as current files, that's where you're going to store them. I can't go in and look at your OneDrive, you can't look at her OneDrive, but you can share files between OneDrive. So rather than doing that whole process of writing an email, you put an attachment, you send it, someone opens it, does their changes, does a file save as, send it back. It eliminates kind of that whole back and forth and all that versioning, so everything will save and sync automatically. So you just do want to think that, the OneDrive is me, I can share things that way, but it's really my cloud storage space. Whereas SharePoint is us. SharePoint is more of a team site. The SharePoint would be something you would create if you were working either with your whole department or a team that was doing a specific project. It's going to open up an actual website for you where you have a file storage space. You also have like a news feed. So you have the information to share announcements, to share any information pertaining to that project or within your department. So that's kind of the main takeaway between the first two. And that's one of the questions I get most frequently when I'm going in and doing trainings is when would I use OneDrive, when would I use SharePoint? So again, the OneDrive is me, the SharePoint is us. Lastly is our Skype for Business that we're also going to go over that really enables you to set up video calls, conference calls, meetings with anyone within whoever you need to talk to about a project or something specific. So we're going to go over that at the end as well. Something I do want to draw your attention to is you do have a CUNY specific implementation considerations that do differ from the standard Microsoft Office 365 for education implementation, and they will not be covered in the documentation and training materials available to you. So because you guys do not have access to an email with these accounts, it's a little bit different how we're going to share files and how you're going to communicate in here. So that's something we're definitely going to go over. The CUNY specific requirements are also laid out in the Microsoft Office 365 CUNY website that I'm going to lead you to log in. So there is the Office for 365 education policy on there. If you guys want to read that kind of on your own time, just to make sure you're aware of what you can and cannot do, what you do and do not have access to. Some of the programs do rely on email to function, so there are some programs that you're not going to have access to. So we're going to go over all of that when we do log in. And again, all of that information is located on that education policy that I will show you guys as well. Once I get there, this is the page you want to be at. So there are two login buttons. So you'll notice if I just scroll down a little bit here, I have this log in to Office 365. That's where you're going to want to go to log into your Office 365 accounts. There is a login button up here, but we're not going to go to here. Every time you're logging in, you're going to go to this larger button here at the bottom. Also on here, there's a couple resources for you. So at the top, you have tutorials, training, and a help center. So if you guys have questions following this training or want to follow up, or have questions in general, that's a great place to go. There's also an FAQ page, most common questions, so feel free to go there too. And this is also where that acceptable use of Office 365 policy is. So again, peruse that, on your own time, just kind of make sure you know what is acceptable and not acceptable to be using your accounts for. It's, a lot of it is just sort of common sense. These are work accounts, so just kind of make sure you know that. As well as the CUNY computer use policy, the security policy, and your Pro Plus accounts here, and the security awareness course are all located on this page. So anytime you guys are either accessing your Office 365 accounts or need more information, this is the main page you're going to go to. Once I'm here, I'm going to log into my CUNY account. So I'm going to go to my Login to Office 365 page here. And I'm going to use my CUNY first login here and put in my password.
Are you also still having issues there?
I'm going to try once more.
Okay.
Once you log in, that should take you to your main portal page, which should look like this.